Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today we're looking at some new cards that are coming out of Burst of Destiny, and they happen to support the new Suship archetype. Urchin-Suship is a level 5 fire attribute aqua type effect monster with 900 attack and 500 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. You can reveal one other Suship card in your hand, special summon this card from your hand, then apply this effect based on the revealed card. Rice Suship, you can special summon the revealed monster. Otherwise, place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck. 2. You can target one Suship monster you control. Its level becomes 4 or 5, then you can add one Rice Suship from your deck to your hand. I love the synergy of this card because firstly, this actually lets you special summon this card immediately, and then depending on what you happen to draw into, if it happens to have been revealed as the Rice Suship, you can then go into that monster and then you can actually adjust that level to then become a level 5, that way you could get a rank 5 monster out, or potentially even it is a different monster and you don't need another card, you can just place that card on the bottom of the deck. That's not really that big of a deal. The secondary effect again works alongside its first effect, it's just an adjustment of levels. It means you don't have to run things such as Level Lifter, which requires you to discard a card anyway, and is very generic and actually might just break your hand. Icefish-Class is a level 4 fire attribute aqua type effect monster. It's got 200 attack and 250 defense. The effect is you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If you control Rice Suship or an Exceeds monster that has Rice Suship as material, you can special summon this card from your hand. And 2. During a main phase, you can special summon one Suship monster from your hand, except Icefish-Class. Then you can place any number of Rice Suship from your deck or graveyard on the top of the deck in any order. The idea of this card is it basically stacks your Rice Suship for you, so you're able to then draw into it, so you've got a guaranteed draw of that specific card. Many of the cards do actually rely on that specific one, so that's always a good thing. The first effect just lets you special summon this card. That happens to work very well because that means you can go into your Exceeds monsters a lot easier than having to waste your normal summon within multiple turns. Super Dreadnought Suship Urchin-Class second Awardish is a rank 5 fire attribute aqua type effect monster with 2900 attack and 500 defense. It requires 2 level 5 monsters to summon it, and its effect is you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. If this card is Exceeds summoned, you can apply these effects based on the monsters used as material. Rice Suship, draw 1 card. Urchin-Suship, this card can attack directly. 2. Once per turn during your main phase or opponent's battle phase, as a quick effect, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of your Suship monsters special summoned from the extra deck to negate their effects. The summoning of this card is very easy. I mean, you've just seen the examples above. You're able to adjust the levels to either a level 5 or to a level 4, which means you can go instantly into the rank 5 monster, or as you can see just below this, it's on rank 4 as well. The first effect actually is a little bit conditional because it depends on what you've used. Most likely, I've checked what Rice Suship's level is, that's also a level 4, and that's a normal monster. So if you're able to adjust that level up to 5, then you have the ability to draw a card. That's fine as an ability, but it's a very generic one. You can actually achieve this a lot quicker with various archetypes than to do this, which requires a lot of resources. Or alternatively, if you go with Urchin-Suship, you're then able to attack directly with this card. I would argue that the secondary part of the effect is actually a lot better with Urchin, because 2900 points of damage might be enough to damage your opponent to OTK them, or at least put them in a very difficult position where they might not be able to use any of their life point generating cards. The secondary ability just shuts down your opponent's monster's effects, which is actually quite decent, because your opponent might have things that will just naturally disrupt certain plays. By being able to use this effect first, then you should be able to go throughout your turn without being challenged too much. And the final card is Carrier Suship Icefish-Class Auxiliary Dish. It's a rank 4 fire attribute aqua type effect monster with 2200 attack and 250 defense. It requires 2 level 4 monsters as materials, and you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. If this card is Exceeds summoned, you can apply these effects based on the material used for its Exceeds summon. Rice Suship, you can draw 1 card, or Icefish-Class, you can add 1 Suship spell or trap card from your deck to the hand. And 2, while there is a face-up card in the field zone, your Suship monsters special summoned from the extra deck cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also, they gain attack equal to their original defense. Of the 2 monsters that are Xyz, this is definitely the weaker of the options. The summoning condition is fine, it just requires 2 level 4 monsters, and you can actually do that within a generic deck anyway. That's assuming you don't want to get any effects and you just want this as a vanilla Xyz monster. But then if you're going with that, I'd argue going for Gemini Pearl is much better. That has no effect and it's got 2600 attack, actually making it stronger than this card and significantly outclassing this card despite being one of the first Xyz monsters. I think to this day only one of the only normal no effect Xyz monsters to be in the game. The first effect, it depends on what you've actually used. This is an example of cards where you can actually use both of the monsters in the name's text, so you can actually get both parts of the effect. The drawing one card is fine. Most archetypes have draw-based cards, but it's very conditional with this archetype. The secondary part with Icefish-Suship means you can just search for one of your spell or trap cards that happens to be within the archetype. Again, that's a decent effect. It's fine for searching for relevant cards. The secondary ability is actually quite decent because it does protect your Suship monsters that are special summoned from the extra deck from being destroyed by your opponent's card effects, but they can still be targeted and sent from the field to the graveyard. They could also be just returned to the hand or the extra deck, so there are ways of outing this quite easily. The other thing that really annoys me is the annoying part of the effect to gain attack equal to their original defense. We'll just have a quick scroll up to see what the other card's defense stat is, because the first one will only gain at 250 defense points. That makes it a 2450 attack monster. There are so many cards that can beat over this card. I think that's a joke of an effect. And look at this here, even with the previous monster's defense points. Okay, it becomes a 3400 attack monster. That's going to be very easy to get over. It's just so weak. And the problem is it's based on the original offense. If you could adapt your monster's defense points and then just gain those defense, I could consider it to be a little bit more competitive. As it is, it's a very simplistic archetype. Yes, it's going to be fantastic for beginners. It's so easy to understand the archetype. So many ways of just adequately playing it. It's going to be one of the cheaper decks, definitely out of Burst of Destiny. That's for sure, if you want to pick up the individual pieces and then put the deck together. But do I think it's going to be competitive at all? Absolutely not. It's just kind of the joke archetype within the set, and it's just one of those archetype fitting sets. Definitely stay away of this if you're looking at the competitive side of it. If you just like the fun, quirky side of it being food-based ships, and the fact that they're fire attribute aqua-type monsters, which you don't see within the game. You've got one normal monster that happens to be that, which is Fire Kraken. And I'll actually show a picture of that up here now. It's an incredibly weak monster, 1600 attack, 1500 defense. You could theme it around this if you wanted to add that in as just additional support, because why not? You need 40 cards in there to begin with. I just wish they would have actually done something considerate with this. I'm hoping if they do have further support somewhere in maybe the next couple of sets, maybe in the next booster set, or maybe it gets its own initial release with some other cards in. Maybe it can go somewhere, but I wouldn't hold my breath. What do you guys think of this deck? Is this great for starters, for new people playing the game? Or do you think this is just too weak an option for any style of play? Do you think this can actually get over any decks? Things like Gravekeepers or other forms of existing archetype support? Leave those comments down below. I'll answer as many as I can. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Yu-Gi-Oh content.